Beautiful evening. I'm loving these grainy videos. I am beautifully exhausted, and I just finished holding space for a group of women. I just co facilitated a cacao ceremony and a sacred pulse class with my dear friend Nicole. And it brought me back to part two, right? The healing journey that led me to basically today, to this moment, to this present, right now. And being in groups of women, and the impetus behind creating my brand, Soul Return Retreats, and my collaborations with Sacred Pulse and the Emerald Villa, and my business partner Nicole, and the village that we are building together, and the women that are involved with that, and their many beautiful talents, and the unique threads that all combine create this breathtaking tapestry. And this could not be birthed if I had not experienced the deep loss that I have experienced in my life. My very best friend, my soul sister, committed suicide. It has been 6 years, I believe, this summer. I'm actually going to be hosting a retreat during the anniversary of her passing, and that will be in 10 days. So it's going to be a very different retreat than normal. We're going to be going deep, and it will be celebrating sisterhood and the deep importance of community. And part of my purpose in life is to bring back the village, the return of the matriarchy. It's why I'm here. And this was the gift that my friend left me when she decided to depart this world. And that was never my choice. That was never going to be an option for me, and she knew that. And my strength and my staying power is what brought me here, because after her passing was my first attempt at retirement from the adult industry, from my work as a sex worker, and it was messy. It was sort of like a mental breakdown at the same time. And my first attempt to rebuild was actually a time of life, a whole year that brought me to an even deeper rock bottom. And there's so many layers of rock bottom. And trust me, sometimes I'm like, how can I actually get deeper than this rock bottom? But there's a rock bottom to the rock bottom sometimes. And trust me, I've been there. And that first year after she died, when I was trying to get my life together, it burnt me down. I've never experienced grief in my life the way that I experienced it when she left me. And I carry deep guilt around that. That somehow it was my responsibility to save her and that I had failed. And it took me years to let go of that. But that year, I remember it's like, I've never lost my appetite for months at a time. I've never cried every day for months at a time. There were days where I could just I just couldn't feel. I didn't want to feel anymore. I was so tired of feeling. And it will lead me to being completely numb, but you absolutely have to feel those feelings and you have to move them through your body. So I left my ex partner. I moved away with my daughter in an attempt to start an entirely new life. Got licensed as a real estate agent and attempted to start to build a business. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, I had not done the necessary healing work on my relationships and had not yet prioritized having a relationship with myself, which led me to an unwanted pregnancy and getting slapped around, which put me in the hospital. And again, had I not had my sisterhood, I don't know what would have happened to me. I had a best friend drive down from 3 hours away, maybe 4 hours away. And I was so ill, I could not load up the U-Haul. She loaded it up for me, basically. We just left, whatever didn't fit. And she got me out of that situation, moved me, and I had to deal with my body and my decisions. And after a year-long custody battle, hand my daughter over to my ex-partner because I could no longer hold it together. And that was the start of my real spiritual awakening. I've had many spiritual awakenings. My real healing journey, that was when I put myself in Love Addicts, a codependency, essentially anonymous, codependency anonymous, like AA for codependence. I had 2 psychologists for a year. Some of the deepest healing work that I've ever done on my own. And I journeyed through that on my own, force-stopped myself on relationships. Then after a while, found myself in a beautiful relationship with another best friend, 2 best friends, and was held by the masculine and the feminine, and had never truly experienced love like that. Like, no expectations, no judgment of the place I was at in my life. It didn't matter, just being held through that for the first time in my life. Love with no conditions, unconditional love. And I take these little parts of my healing journey, right? The inner child work that I had to do during my codependent, my AA codependent, my Love Addicts healing, the narcissistic abuse victims group that they ultimately asked me to start leading, which I did, and eventually stopped because I didn't want to see people staying in their patterns and their loops anymore. I wanted to see people actually applying these things to their life and bettering themselves and feeling empowered to leave these situations. So, getting back into my yoga practice, really getting into my spiritual path. I found the Wicca a few years ago now, the Wiccan path, and it just brought me back to what is real and what is raw and what are the base points of human connection, to nature and to each other. And again, more unconditional love, more finding of my tribe, of people who actually understood me, where I could take those armors down. And these are all little threads that I have applied to my wellness business, my healing business, my retreat company, all these things that I've taken um, from these past experiences just over the last, well, my whole life, but really the last few years. My journey with plant medicine, really getting into sacred ceremonies, and my time in Colombia, Guatemala, South America, traveling solo, um, being in Australia, so many places, so many people that have just empowered me to share my story. Men, too, that I have really, truly, deeply loved, that have helped me heal a lot of the wounds that I had in a lot of my relationships with men. Um, and that was a reflection of my own inner work and some of the most difficult, darkest, deepest, loneliest nights, where I gave myself ultimatums of, hey, like, you need to get good with yourself. You're not allowed to be with anyone else right now. That was something that was really important. Celibacy as well, especially after leaving the sex work industry, it really becomes an addiction, multiple aspects of it, and you actually go through withdrawal once you decide you're really going to quit. So it's the lifestyle, it's the high, it's the money, all of those things, and choosing this completely like almost opposite path of healing. It's just been one of the craziest things for me. Um, but yeah, and it's like I'm so grateful for the pain. I'm so grateful for the pain and the presence that it brought me and the promise of the pain, of the peace on the other side. And it's been a time. It's been a time. I've lost so much, but there has been so much gained, and I had to give all of that up in order to receive the gifts that have come to me through this business and my healing work, and it's been very profound. Gonna wrap up on part 2.